Yo, what's good? It's your boy Wifi's funeral. I'm here with no jumper, bitch, and I guess I'm about to get exposed. I'm from Palm Beach County, Florida. I was born in the Bronx, New York. I lived in New York till I was probably like 5, 6. I don't really remember. Moved to Palm Beach. Lived in Palm Beach my whole life. Whole shit was like a culture shock because, you know, like up north niggas and down south niggas are like completely different. So just seeing the whole like down south like love, hospitality, everything, it was just a complete like culture shock. What kind of kid was I? I was a pretty bad kid. I'm not gonna lie, I was one of those kids that like I only listened when I felt like listening. Like, feel me? I listened to the point that like my mom wasn't beating my ass at least every day, you feel me? I would make sure of it. But like when I wasn't with my mom or I was outside, I was just doing hella fuck shit. I was hanging out with kids like way older than me, feel me? I started smoking when I was like 11. I ain't proud of it, but that's just the type of kid I was, like just doing dumb shit, like shit that my mom was like telling me, oh, don't go outside and do. I was like 7. At the time, I was listening to like, just like shit that was on the radio. Like at that time, it was like The Game, and like 50 Cent, like all that shit, like Dipset. They were all on the radio. And I was like 7, I saw the More Money, More Problems music video on MTV Jams. I always knew what a rapper was, but then I never knew what like rappers did. I just thought they were just always on the radio. Like that's what they got paid to do. So when I saw music videos, I saw like a different perspective from them. I saw the More Money, More Problems music video. I saw Puffy and Mace, and I was like, Mom, what they doing? And she was like, oh, they rapping. And I was like, they get paid to do that? She said, yeah. I said, I'm gonna do that. And like, that's it. Like I never worked a 9 to 5 a day in my life. Probably when I was like 10, I was like recording music on MySpace. I used to have like this compact computer, and it had a microphone in the center of the screen, so you could like record like a voice recorder or something like that. So I would use the voice recorder, play the beat, have the beat playing over, and then my vocals playing over the beat, and record it all in one. I'd always had been going at it like online since I was like 14, no cap. But when I first did the first No Jumper interview with you, that's when I really started like noticing people were listening to my music a lot. Well, I did this record when I was like 17, and I was living in Orlando at the time with Max P. We got this record with 458 Keys and my homie OG Scott at the time. I think his name's Porsche Pedro now, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it's called Surf, and like we made hella noise in Orlando with that shit. Like we got hella respect in the hood for that shit. Shit was amazing. It was a moment because we were all the most poppin' like rappers in like the underground scene in Orlando at least, and we all just came together and did one big ass record. My whole perspective on the Raider Clan shit, like that shit was legendary. I looked up more to like Perp and like Xavier and Chris Travis. Like they had the hardest shit, you feel me? And then like Rob at the time too, like cause he wasn't really Raider Clan, but he was so affiliated with Perp at the time that like niggas considered him Raider Clan. So like Rob, I was listening to Rob like crazy. I was listening to Puya like crazy. Like what I think what made us start to have moments was the fact that we all never gave up, bro. You know what I mean? Like that it's just something different about people from Florida. People from Florida just don't like taking no for an answer and don't like getting what they feel like they deserve, you feel me? And we were just like overly dedicated kids, you know what I mean? We were like living at each other's houses, like probably at each other's homeboys' houses at that too. So barely had money in our pocket, barely had food in our fucking stomach. So we were trying to do anything to get the fuck out of there. I think that's what had us stand out from anybody. Like we did whatever it took to get out of there. People did whatever it took to look cool, to be like, hey, I'm representing Florida. We didn't care about representing. We cared about, like it was bigger than Florida to us, you know what I mean? So I think that's why people look at us in that such light and give us that such respect, because we always like represented Florida, but it was never just on some, yo, I'm doing this for Florida and that's it, and this is only where I'm gonna be at with it. I was like 18 when I did that shit with you, when I did that No Jumper interview with you. I was fucked up. I was on Xans like heavy, hell yeah. I was on Xans hella heavy. I'd be like on and off, like it was weird. I had like really bad anxiety issues. I couldn't look at you in the eye half of the time when we did the interview. I remember I kept staring at the ground. I got a lot of problems with that shit. I don't know. I was at a weird point. My mom had just got cancer. I found out that my mom had cancer for the first time, so that fucked my head up. And I don't know, I feel like the world was against me because it like I wasn't a high school graduate, you feel me? Like got tattoos all over my face. I'm broke as fuck. I only got $100. I'm living hotel to hotel. Like I ain't shit. But like meanwhile, people are like liking my music. So it was weird. It was weird. I didn't understand why I was getting like half the attention that I was getting. My whole life, as far as like falling asleep during your interview, My whole life I've been smoking trash. Like Florida weed is just straight trash. And I ain't never smoked like Cali gas for the first time. Dog, we smoked like 2 blunts. Next thing you know, you ask me like 2 questions, I answer them. And I don't know, bro, like my body just collapsed. Like I just knocked out. Then next thing you know, Gabe's waking me up. We're in the middle of the interview still, and I'm like, fuck. Like that actually happened. Like I didn't expect that shit to happen. I got my own strain that I'm coming out with now.
Really?
Yeah, it's a cross between Girl Scout Cookie 3 and Wi-Fi OG. The thing about X, I known X since I was like 14. I known him through the internet because I was releasing music at such a young age, and he knew of my music. I wouldn't call him a fan. I would never like disrespect and call him a fan. He knew of me. He liked my music at the time too, so we always kept in contact with each other. But it wasn't even just through music too. We used to fuck with the same bitch, so it was kind of weird. But yeah, that's the homie. And then that developed into that. He did his whole members only shit. I was doing my own shit at the time. We just, just still kept in contact with each other. Became good friends. I joined members only. We got even closer. Then we lived with each other for a period of time. Got closer at that. And yeah, I was just there from just like his, I guess you could say his blueprint points. Like when he really like strategized out, when he would spaz out in the crib and be like, yo, I'm gonna act like I'm gonna really make it. Like people don't understand. Like I remember so many people doubted him, man. Like, and I admire him so much for that, because it's like he really showed me that like not to listen to like what people say, because it's like if you know exactly in your heart that like you're gonna make it, you're just destined for that. You know what I mean? You just got to know that, and you got to just, I guess, manifest that. And he was just a big like key explanation of that. So being around him, making songs with him, even being close with him, as much as I was blessed to have that friendship at one point with him, was amazing. You know what I mean? So he's a great person. Shout out to him. Crazy. That tour was crazy. Like every city was fucking like sold out. Everybody knew every fucking word. Everybody was crying. Like mosh pits were wild. Like we were jumping off the fucking like the top stages of like the fucking venues. Like we were going wild, bro. It was wild. That whole shit was like a movie. I feel like that tour itself was so impactful to hip hop, because it just showed like kids wilding the fuck out, and like a movement that was like actually like here, like in your face. I left the tour just cause I was just at a point in my life where I needed to focus more on myself, and I was just really fucked up just on some personal shit. So like I was just like, yo, I just need to remove myself from this tour. What made me decide to sign with Alamo was basically like, I had a meeting with Todd. Todd flew me out to LA with Joey IE, and we all talked. And I'm gonna be real with you, I ain't really fucking know who the fuck Todd Moskowitz was. Like I didn't know about his legendary background or like any of that shit. Like I was just focused on me, as like, I guess big-headed as that sounds, I don't know. But that happened or whatever, and we were talking, and like Todd just really understood like my music and where I was trying to go with like just Wifisfuneral as a whole, and like how I was trying to push it from point A to Z. He really understood the vision. He knew a lot about me without me like having to explain myself. Like he really did his homework about me, and he was really into my music and just really believed in me as an artist. And we had like a really like personal like one-on-one conversation, and it just made me believe in him enough to want to just sign to Alamo and do business with him. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't regret it, honestly. There's a lot of things that I don't like, but as far as like signing to Alamo, I don't regret it. It's whatever. Fuck with it. I'm gonna be real with you. What I don't like is this. I like Alamo for what they're trying to do. I love Todd Moskowitz for the person that he is and for the businessman that he is, because he's a genius and an amazing person. I don't like the people that work for him, because I feel like the people that work for him are not worried about the artist. They're more worried about what looks good on their resume instead of actually like doing their job. But that's just my personal opinion. But there's people actually at that office that give a fuck about their artists and that are actually trying to, you know what I mean, like do something for a cause, and it's more than a paycheck, and you know what I mean. But if that part changes, I feel like Alamo will be a successful fucking company. But that's just me. I'm always keep it real though. You feel me? Like I don't give a fuck. Well, as far as like this new project that I'm working on, I got this project called Ethernet, and it's releasing June 8th. I got Uno the Activist on it, YB and Namir, Jay Critch, I got a couple of people that I'm working with on it, honestly. Like it's a real solid project. It's beyond different from any other project that I released because I actually took a different approach and was like, how could I make music differently to a point that people could like enjoy the evolution within like the artist and not just focus on like, all right, we just want to hear this specific sound. You know what I mean? It sucks. It's not cool. Like at one point I didn't really give a fuck about it. I used to be like, yeah, I'm getting fucked up. Like, I'm gonna fuck. But now I look at it and it's just like, yeah, I'm getting fucked up. Like, I'm low-key killing myself. Like, but I can't stop. Like, well, I mean, I can stop if I really want to, like, if I really want to change myself. But people don't really understand, like, how hard that step it is to, like, I guess, take. And that's the step that I'm trying to take in my life. Is to actually, like, really, like, cold turkey get off of it. Like, I dibbled and dabbled with it from time to time, but like I'm going through a lot of like legal shit now, so like I'm not just fucking with drugs like at all. But that shit's hard. It's like it's a constant struggle because something happens, you become dependent on like, all right, this could take it away. I ain't gotta think about it. Like fuck that shit. That shit's gone, dead, deceased. Or like this shit happened, boom, I'm da 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 da. It's like it's such an scapegoat. And you become so like dependent on it or you rely on it. Or sometimes you're just partying too hard and you just don't notice it, you know what I mean? You just don't notice that you just pop like fucking 4 Xans and it's like 2 p.m. Like, I don't know. When I saw that Peep died, that shit fucked me up a lot. Cause like, to lose somebody like as special and to someone that wasn't even at like half of the potential of like the star that they could actually be. You know what I mean? Like literally still on those stepping stools on that yellow brick road, like going down that path to be that superstar that he was going to be. It sucks that a drug took that away. He didn't get murdered like da 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 like a fucking drug took him away. You know what I mean? And it's like at the end of the day, you can have your opinion on how you have your opinion, but that shit sucks. It made me want to stop popping Xans. I remember I stopped popping Xans for like 2 months straight because of that shit. I was like, yo, I'm good on it. Like, I'm really fucking good on it. Am I excited about music? No. We're in a generation where it's so oversaturated that there's a handful of people that are gonna actually like appreciate something. You know what I mean? Those handful of people can, you know, spread to the masses. There's like God knows how many million people in the fucking world. You know what I mean? You can't just speak for everybody, of course. Only a handful of them are gonna probably sit here and genuinely appreciate your music. I feel like it's more of like a what's gonna entertain me in 3 seconds for right now because this is like the only type of time expansion that I have. Like half of the time you could play the trashiest song in the world and a person will dead ass look at you in the face and be like, yeah, I fuck with that shit. Beats hard. And like that's it. Like they can't tell you like, yo, I really like connected to that song because you said that, or like, yo, I really fuck with that song because I'm going through this shit, or like, yo, I really fuck with that song because of bum 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 bum, or like just something that like actually like means something in a song. You know what I mean? People aren't gonna be able to like have that experience, I feel like. But what motivates me to like still keep going music wise, I feel like I got a lot to prove to myself because I didn't even think I would make it this far to begin with. You know what I mean? So I feel like, yo, if I'm here now, why not just go full throttle with it? Like, let me just really, like, put my fucking foot on the gas and see how far I can take it. And however far we fucking take it, I could just sit back, and when I fucking die, I could be like, yo, I did that shit. Like, I really told myself as a kid I was gonna do this shit, and now this is what I'm doing. I would want them to listen to my struggles and listen to the things that I speak within my music and not let that be a motivation for them to do that same thing. I want that to be a motivation to them to learn from that and just to understand me more as a person and understand why my outlook is the way my outlook is, I guess. And if you relate to it, you relate to it, and if you don't fuck with it, but there's certain things that you can relate to it and you do kind of just understand, or you're down for the cause, then like, yeah, that's what I would want to get. I would never want some kid to hear me be like, yeah, I just was geeking off like fucking like 2 perks and like 4 bars and be like, you know what, I'm gonna do that. Like, I'm not saying that shit to glorify it. I'm saying that because like, yo, I was really that fucked up in a hole at one point and I didn't see any other escape but to do that. I feel like people should check out this new project just because it's growth. And if you're a Wifisfuneral fan and you've listened from my first tape, Black Heart Revenge, till now, it's completely different, you know what I mean? They're all bangers, honestly. I bust my ass, like, stood up for like nights, days, like just working on like verses, like just to have it sonically sound the way how I want it to sound, because I feel like presentation is key. And I feel like if I don't present my music in the right way, like people aren't gonna react to it, the reaction that I want to get off of them. So I feel like people are gonna react to it very well. I feel like people are gonna really fuck with it. There's gonna be a couple bangers on it, honestly. We just dropped that shit with YBN, that we just did like a remake of Back That Ass Up. It's just blowing up. It's blowing up everywhere. I came up with the name Wifisfuneral one day. Just woke up. I was like probably 14, 15. Woke up and I was like, damn, this name's fire. And then it was a duo between me and my homeboy DJ Scheme at the time. And the funeral part was because we met through his homeboy committing suicide. And then Wi-Fi just because, you know, we want the shit to be global. But now he's doing his shit, I'm doing my shit. So, you know, I'm just Wifisfuneral now.